I'd like to talk to you about when to report an event to your carrier. Most medical malpractice policies include instructions for reporting events that may give rise to a professional liability claim, and most policies also include a statement that non-reported events may not be covered if there's a claim. So report them. So how do you know what exactly to report to your carrier? Well, if it isn't specifically spelled out in your policy, although most likely it is, always report significant events or anything where you feel like there may be some liability exposure. Let's start with events that you should certainly and clearly report. These are absolute. If you don't report them, you're risking your coverage to manage that claim. One is a demand for money. Two, verbal or written threats of legal action. If a patient's upset in any setting and verbalizes plans to sue you, that must be reported. And obviously, any formal document from an attorney, say a formal paper naming you as a defendant or a witness, an attorney's letter of an intent or a 90-day notice, request for arbitration or request for a deposition or an interview, and subpoenas, summons, complaints, notices of a lawsuit, or a small claims notice. All those must be reported. And once reported, your carrier will determine the best course of action and may proactively assign you legal counsel to represent your best interests. But there's some typical incidents that, while not a claim at the time, should still be reported because they could become one later. The number one reportable event is an unanticipated or unexpected death. If you've been caring, for example, for a patient with cancer diagnosis, and through the natural progression of his disease, that patient dies, that's not necessarily reportable. But if you're caring for a newly diagnosed hypertensive patient who suffers a stroke and doesn't survive, that is an event that needs to be reported to your carrier. Also, any event that leads to a diminished life expectancy, a loss of an extremity or an injury to a patient, those things are reportable. Obstetrics is a very high-risk specialty, so anytime there is an unexpected outcome of delivery, it needs to be reported. And just in general, if you feel you're being threatened or harassed by a family member, report that to your carrier. Dissatisfied patients are the most likely to sue, and your carrier may be able to provide consultative risk management advice to help you work through such a situation. And in conclusion, if there's anything that causes you concern, then report that to the carrier.